If you've opened your phone at all today, as you're scrolling, there's almost certainly a piece of content popping up telling you that your water bottle is giving you cancer, or that common everyday ingredients are literal poison, or maybe that you need to chew every single bite of food exactly 40 times to absorb anything. We are just constantly bombarded with these incredibly dramatic, highly shareable health claims. And look, some of what's out there genuinely does have solid, real evidence backing it up. But a lot of it, well, it's completely made up. And let's be honest with ourselves. Most of us simply cannot tell the difference in the 8 seconds it takes to scroll past a creator wearing a lab coat. Today, we aren't looking at vibes and we aren't looking at opinions. We're strictly looking at the actual science to fact check what is really true. So let's dive right into things by asking one fundamental question. Is your health advice actually true? To figure that out, we're going to scientifically evaluate 4 of the absolute most viral health claims circulating right now. We're taking the stuff you see everywhere online and checking it straight against the research. Section 1. The seed oil scare. Toxic or safe? Over the past few years, you've definitely seen the widespread claim that common cooking oils, we're talking canola oil, soybean oil, sunflower oil, are these hidden drivers of chronic disease and the obesity epidemic. It's a terrifying thought, right? But are seed oils inherently toxic? Well, before we all panic and throw out absolutely everything in our pantries, we need to look at what large-scale nutrition research actually reveals, instead of just taking a viral post's word for it. There's a massive divide between the internet and the lab on this one. On one side, you have sensational claims screaming that seed oils are literal poison. But on the other side, scientific reality paints a completely different picture. Large-scale research generally shows that replacing saturated fats with these exact seed oils is linked to modestly better, not worse, markers of heart health. And this is the crucial part. It completely separates the oil itself from ultra-processed foods. Ultra-processed foods as an entire category are absolutely linked to worse health outcomes. And yeah, a lot of those highly processed products just so happen to contain seed oils. But saying an ultra-processed food is bad for you is a very, very different claim than saying the oil itself is toxic. So, here's our definitive conclusion on the seed oils scare. It is mostly false. What we're looking at here is a classic case of viral content mixing up 2 totally separate things. It takes a food category correlation, the known fact that processed foods aren't great for us, and twists it into a specific ingredient causation, claiming the seed oil itself is the villain. Sure, that scary version definitely gets the clicks, but it just isn't backed by the evidence. Moving on to Section 2, cleanses and cold plunges, fact or fiction. Let's dig into 2 massive, huge trends right now, starting with a decades-old claim. Do you actually need a juice cleanse to detox your organs? You know the pitch, right? Spend a fortune on special detox teas or commit to a miserable periodic juice cleanse to magically flush out your system and reset your body. I mean, it sounds wonderfully logical, but let's take a look at the biology. When we actually look under the hood, the claim totally falls apart. Your liver and your kidneys are unbelievable organs that perform continuous filtration and detoxification. They're operating 24/7 every hour of every single day. There is absolutely zero credible clinical evidence, but a short-term cleanse improves or speeds up that process in a healthy person. What a trendy juice cleanse actually does to you physiologically is simply enforce massive calorie restriction. And yeah, this can cause temporary weight loss for sure, but it's purely from losing water and severely reducing your food intake, not from magically scrubbing out toxins. Which naturally leads us to a very straightforward verdict. False. You absolutely do not need to pay for a specialized cleanse when your body's physiological baseline is already doing all the heavy lifting for you. Your organs do this continuously. And honestly, the best part, they do it for free. Okay, let's pivot to the complete other end of the thermometer, the freezing cold plunge trend. You cannot escape this one right now. Specifically, we want to investigate the hardcore marketing claim that jumping into a miserable tub of ice water is a massive, metabolism-boosting, fat-burning hack. To actually understand this, we have to look at the biological mechanism at play, which is called brown fat activation. The real research here, it's definitely way more modest than the crazy viral claims. Look, cold exposure absolutely does activate brown fat. It does cause a temporary increase in calorie burn as your body works frantically to rewarm itself. That part of the biology is completely real. But the actual magnitude of that calorie burn is incredibly small, like tiny. It is nowhere near enough on its own to be a meaningful fat loss strategy, especially when you stack it up against basic diet and regular exercise. So the verdict on cold plunges requires a little bit of nuance. It's partly true, but hugely, wildly exaggerated. The effect is real, it's just tiny in practice. Now, it's definitely worth mentioning that cold exposure does have far more solid evidence for things like physical recovery and building stress resilience. It's just vastly overstated in viral content when it gets marketed as some kind of miracle metabolism boosting fat loss hack. Section 3. The Magnesium Anxiety Cure, a magic supplement? This brings us to a really fascinating claim, mainly because it offers a highly satisfying single supplement fix for incredibly complex modern issues. Is your anxiety actually just a magnesium deficiency? This claim has just surged in popularity lately because it tells us that our anxiety, our poor sleep, and our constant fatigue can all be completely explained by a single mineral deficiency. And even better, that it can all be cured just by taking one simple pill. This perfectly captures how viral claims are born. On one hand, yes, we have severe clinical deficiency. This is a real medical condition genuinely linked to symptoms like severe fatigue and muscle issues. But then, on the other hand, we have the general population. Most people in the US eat a relatively varied diet and are not actually clinically deficient in magnesium. And here's the kicker. For someone who isn't actually deficient in the first place, taking extra magnesium just hasn't been shown to meaningfully reduce anxiety. It perfectly illustrates how a real but very, very narrow medical condition gets stretched completely out of proportion to explain a complicated universal human symptom. So the crucial point we need to remember is right here. True for some, massively oversold for most. Unless you have a true clinically diagnosed deficiency, popping more magnesium just isn't the magic anxiety cure it's marketed to be. It's a very real condition that has been wildly overgeneralized, mostly because the narrow, scientifically accurate version just doesn't make for a compelling, clickable video. Section 4. Your viral BS detector, spotting the truth. So now that you've seen the exact pattern of how narrow science gets stretched into scary or overly exciting claims, let's equip you with a tool to spot it yourself. You really don't need a medical degree to evaluate the content on your feed. You just need to hit pause for the 15 seconds that viral content is specifically designed to prevent you from taking and ask these 3 simple questions. Step 1. Does the claim describe something your body already does on its own better than any product can? Think back to the detoxing. If so, that's a red flag. Step 2. Is a rare condition being generalized to basically everyone, just like the magnesium deficiency? Also major red flag. And finally, step 3. Is there a specific sourced number attached to the claim, like a study or an actual mechanism, or is it just a creator using a highly confident tone with literally no source at all? Running videos through this quick mental filter is going to save you a whole lot of worry. And that brings us to our final section, the real takeaway. Don't be fooled. How should you approach the endless stream of health information on your phone? I really want you to internalize this. Most viral health content isn't lying outright. It's usually taking something real and small and inflating it until it's dramatic enough to stop a thumb mid-scroll. You don't need to distrust absolutely everything you see online. You just need to remember that the more dramatic, the more terrifying, or the more universally applicable a health claim sounds, the more likely it is that the evidence has been stretched far past reality just to grab your attention. Which brings us to the end of our deep dive today. I want to challenge you to take your brand new BS detector out into the digital wild. Use that 3-step filter. And before you go, I want to leave you with a question to really think about and to answer in your own life. What is a health claim that you completely believed for years before finally finding out it just wasn't true? Keep questioning things, keep learning, and as always, let the evidence guide you.